Wrong alarm. Delyssa's body knew before her mind caught up. The pitch was wrong, the rhythm urgent, the kind that meant something lethal had escaped containment. Her secondary eyelids snapped open before her primary ones, pure prey response overriding sleep. The head fins along her skull flattened so hard against bone they sent sparks of pain down her neck. Her datapad lit up with the breach location. Sector 9, the specimen holding areas. 4 meters of scaled muscle and venom that liquefied organs in seconds. Her first thought was protocol. Her second was Connor. The human would be there. He always was. For 6 weeks, he'd been spending his off-duty hours near the holding area. Said he was conducting behavioral observations. Said the specimen showed intelligence markers. Said a lot of things that made her head fins flush colors she didn't want to examine. Delissa pulled on her station jumpsuit. Her hands shook. She'd sat across from Connor yesterday in the cafeteria. Watched him eat that earth food he called pizza. Watched the way his mouth moved when he laughed. Noticed how his eyes crinkled. How he leaned toward her when they talked. How he'd touched her hand when passing her the datapad and let the contact linger 3 seconds longer than necessary. She'd been counting. That's how far gone she was, counting seconds of contact with a human. With a predator species whose forward-facing eyes still made her nervous after 6 weeks of proximity. Her people didn't do this, didn't develop attachments to other species, didn't feel their hearts race when someone smiled. But sci-fi evolution hadn't accounted for humans, hadn't prepared her for pack bonding that crossed species barriers without permission. The corridor outside her quarters was chaos. Station personnel running. Emergency lights strobing red. She joined the flow toward the safe zones, went against it, toward Sector 9, toward danger, toward him. A security officer grabbed her arm. Her translator rendered his species clicking language. Xenobiologist, you're going the wrong direction. I need to check the specimen's status. Negative. Sector 9 is sealed. Atmospheric contamination detected. Chlorine gas from the Vorkith-9 environment systems. Life support failure pushed it through the ventilation before we could isolate. Connor. The name stuck in her throat. The human in Sector 9. Is he? His comm tag shows in the observation room. He's not responding. We can't reach him until we vent the contamination. How long? Minimum 40 minutes. Maybe more if the leak continues. 40 minutes. Delissa's mind calculated oxygen requirements for human physiology. Chlorine toxicity thresholds. The math didn't favor survival. Her head fins went rigid. The security officer's grip tightened. I can't let you go in there. She could fight. Could use her species' natural flexibility to slip his grip. But that would waste time. She needed another approach. Her datapad showed station schematics. There, the maintenance access tunnel. It bypassed the sealed sectors, led directly to the observation room. The atmospheric contamination wouldn't have reached it, yet if the ventilation flow pushed the gas forward. She nodded to the security officer, stepped back, let him think she'd comply. Then she ran, not toward safety, toward the maintenance access, toward Connor. Because apparently 6 weeks was long enough to pack bond, long enough to override a lifetime of sci-fi cautious rationality, long enough to make her stupid. The maintenance tunnel was dark. Her head fins provided bioluminescence, soft pink glow. She'd learned to control the color response around Connor, learned to keep them neutral blue-green instead of the pink that indicated attraction. But alone in the dark, moving through spaces too small for most species, they betrayed her. Glowed bright fuchsia, emergency response mixing with emotional state. She'd kissed him yesterday. Almost. They'd been alone in the secondary lab. He'd been showing her something on the microscope. Bent close, she'd turned her head. Their faces centimeters apart. She'd seen his pupils dilate, seen him lean closer. Then the lab door opened and they jumped apart like guilty adolescents. Neither mentioned it afterward, but the tension had been there, building, growing, inevitable. The maintenance tunnel opened into a storage closet adjacent to the observation room. Delissa pushed through. The air here tasted wrong. Chemical, chlorine concentration rising but not lethal yet. Her eyes watered. Her lungs burned. She had maybe 10 minutes before the gas reached dangerous levels. The observation room door stood open. She stepped through, stopped. Connor sat on the floor, back against the wall, not moving. For 3 seconds her heart stopped. Then she saw his chest rise, fall, shallow breathing, alive. Her head fins flushed so bright they probably lit the whole room. Connor. She crossed to him, dropped to her knees. Her hands found his face. Warm, too warm, fever response. His eyes opened, unfocused, pupils blown wide. Those predator eyes trying to track her. Failing, Thel. His voice came rough, damaged. You shouldn't be here, the gas, I know. She pulled her emergency rebreather from her belt, pressed it to his face. Breathe, come on, breathe, he did. His hand came up, covered hers on the rebreather. His fingers wrapped around her wrist. The touch sent electricity through her nervous system. Not the time, not the place, but her biology didn't care about appropriate context. The specimen escaped, Connor said through the rebreather. His eyes focused slightly. I tried to stop it. It went into the ventilation. Then the life support failed. The chlorine I couldn't get out. The doors sealed. Where's the specimen now? Don't know. Lost visual when the gas hit. Connor coughed. The sound wet, painful. Thel, you need to leave. Get to the safe zones. Not without you. His expression shifted. Even through the chlorine exposure, even with blown pupils and fever flush, she saw it. That look, the one from yesterday, the almost kiss look. The one that made her head fins glow traitor colors. Stubborn, he said. That's new. I like it. Despite everything, she almost laughed. Humans. They flirted during catastrophe. Treated lethal danger as background noise. Connor's species came from a planet that tried to kill them constantly. They'd evolved to find humor in crisis, to form attachments under pressure, to pack bond in the middle of disasters because tomorrow might not come and connection mattered more than caution. She was learning that lesson, right now. Kneeling in contaminated atmosphere, holding a rebreather to a human's face, feeling her heart do complicated things that had nothing to do with fear. Can you stand? She asked. Maybe. Connor let her help him up. He swayed, caught himself against the wall. His other hand didn't release her wrist, like he thought she'd vanish if he let go. We need atmosphere suits. Storage locker, over there. They made it 3 steps before the ceiling vent buckled. The specimen dropped through. 4 meters of apex predator hitting the deck with enough force to crack the plating. Its thermal pits glowed orange in the emergency lighting. Venom dripped from extended fangs. Each drop hissed against metal, eating through. Delyssa's entire nervous system screamed, every prey instinct, every evolutionary pressure that kept her species alive by avoiding predators. Run, hide, freeze. Anything except stand there while something that could liquefy her organs from the inside oriented toward her heat signature. Connor stepped in front of her, moved between her and the creature. His body language protective, pack behavior, defending the weaker member. Except he was the one damaged, fevered from chlorine exposure, barely standing, and she was the xenobiologist, the one trained in creature behavior, the one who should be analyzing threat response, calculating attack patterns, formulating survival strategies. Instead, she stood behind him. Let him protect her, because pack bonding overrode logic, because he was human and humans did this. Defended, protected, died for pack if necessary. The creature's head lowered, aggressive posture, its 6 legs coiled, preparing to lunge. The thermal pits tracked Connor's heat signature, locked on. Targeted, hey, Connor said. His voice carried that strange calm. The tone that shouldn't work. That violated everything Delissa knew about predator response. But Connor had been using it for weeks. Had been doing something in the holding area that station logs recorded, but she'd never witnessed. Buddy, remember me? The creature's head tilted, fractionally. The aggressive posture held, but something shifted. Recognition, impossible. The specimen was non-sapient. Advanced neural structures, yes. Tool use capable, maybe. But not sentient. Not able to recognize individuals. Not able to, the creature's thermal pits dimmed. The venom fangs retracted. It approached Connor with predatory grace. But the attack posture melted, became something else. Curiosity, interest, its scaled snout pressed against Connor's chest, snuffled. The rumbling started, deep, resonant. Delissa felt it through the deck plating. Connor's hand came up, slow, careful, touched behind the creature's jaw ridge where the thermal pits dimpled. The rumbling intensified. The creature's eyes half closed, leaned into the contact. Delissa stopped breathing. Her head fins went completely rigid. What she was seeing violated xenobiology, violated behavioral science, violated everything she'd studied for 3 cycles at the Sci-fi Institute. Apex predators didn't domesticate, didn't form attachments, didn't show affection toward prey species. But this one did. This one pressed against Connor like it wanted closeness, made sounds that resembled earth feline purring, let him touch vulnerable areas near its throat and eyes, trusted him. The evidence couldn't be clearer. You, Thalissa said. Her voice came out strangled. You've been doing this whole time. The behavioral observations. You've been, what's the word, befriending it. Connor glanced back at her. Even fevered, even damaged, he smiled that crooked smile that made her head fins flush. Yeah, his name is Buddy. We're friends, aren't we, Buddy? The creature made a huffing sound. Almost affirmative. It pulled back from Connor, looked at Thalissa. Those unblinking eyes held intelligence she'd denied, had to deny, because acknowledging it meant admitting she'd been wrong. Meant everything she knew about deathworld fauna needed revision. Meant humans could do impossible things and make them look casual. He won't hurt you, Connor said. You're Pack now. Pack, the word that kept appearing, that Connor used like it explained everything. Maybe it did. Maybe Pack was the answer. The human answer to hostile universe, dangerous fauna, impossible odds. Make everything family. Bond with anything. Turn apex predators into allies through sheer stubborn affection. The creature approached her. Thalyssa's legs locked. Wouldn't move, couldn't, prey instinct. The creature's breath was hot, humid, sulfur smell mixed with something sharper, like burned copper. Its tongue flicked out, tasted her fear. The stress hormones flooding her system, the elevated heart rate. Then it did something worse than attack. It pressed its snout against her palm. The scales felt smooth, warm, like sun-heated stone. The thermal pits pulsed along its jaw, learning her signature, memorizing. The rumbling started again. Softer, gentler, like it was trying to comfort, to reassure. Pack. Connor's hand found her shoulder, squeezed. See. Pack, he knows you're mine. The word mine shouldn't have hit like that. Shouldn't have made her head fins glow so bright they cast pink shadows. Shouldn't have made her want to turn around and finish what almost happened in the lab yesterday. But it did. All of that. Because apparently 6 weeks of proximity, shared meals, almost touches, and stolen glances had been enough. Pack bonding was complete. She was his. He was hers. And this apex predator understood better than she did. The station's alarms changed pitch. A new warning. Thalyssa's datapad chimed. She checked it. Her secondary eyelids flicked closed. Opened, stress response intensifying. Second containment breach. The other specimen. It's loose. Connor's expression hardened. His hand left her shoulder. Moved to her waist. Pulled her closer. The creature Buddy tensed. Its head came up. Alert. The rumbling stopped. It tasted the air. Hissed. Backed against Connor's legs. Where? Connor asked. Sector 11, moving toward us. She looked at the sealed blast doors, the contaminated atmosphere, the two of them trapped with nowhere to run. If it gets through those doors, it will. Connor's jaw tightened. He looked at Buddy, then at her. Thel, listen to me. The storage locker has emergency atmosphere suits. We're going to suit up. Then we're going to unseal those doors and run for the safe zones. Buddy will buy us time. No, the word came out sharp. Automatic, he'll die. Yeah, Connor's eyes held hers. Predator eyes, but also something else. Something that looked like grief. Pre-grief for a death not yet happened. He will, but will live. That's what Pack does. The strong protect the weak. The fighters protect the runners. He's the fighter, Thel. We're the runners. You can't ask that of him. I'm not asking. Connor's voice went quiet. Gentle, the way it did when he was trying to make her understand human things. Sci-fi things didn't cover. He's offering. It's instinct. He's Pack. He'll die for Pack because that's what apex predators do when you convince them you're family. That's horrible, that's survival. The words sat between them. Heavy. True. Thalyssa's species didn't do this. Didn't sacrifice for others. Didn't form bonds so deep that death became acceptable cost. They survived through avoidance, caution, careful calculation. Safe, lonely, alive but not connected. Humans chose differently, made connections that hurt, that cost. That meant watching friends die protecting you, but they also meant belonging. Meant someone stepped between you and danger. Meant you weren't alone when the universe tried to kill you. Thalissa had spent 6 weeks learning that lesson. 6 weeks watching Connor befriend the station's deadliest specimen. 6 weeks feeling pack bond form without her permission. 6 weeks falling toward something that terrified her more than any apex predator. The storage locker. She moved toward it. Connor followed. They pulled on atmosphere suits. Sealed them, the chlorine concentration had reached dangerous levels. Her lungs burned even with the suit's air supply. Connor's hands were shaking as he checked her seals. Fever, chlorine damage, but he checked twice, made sure, protected. Something crashed against the blast doors. Once, twice. The second specimen, larger than Buddy, older, scarred from territorial fights, its thermal signature showed through the door's sensors. Hot, aggressive, hungry. Buddy positioned himself between them and the doors. His body language radiated challenge, guard behavior. The posture predators used protecting young, or pack. The rumbling became a growl. Low, threatening, ready. Connor moved to the manual override panel. His hands flew across the controls, hit the emergency release. The blast doors groaned, started to open, inch by grinding inch. The second specimen pushed through before they'd opened halfway. 4 meters of apex predator rage squeezing through the gap. Its venom fangs fully extended. Its thermal pits burning bright. It saw them, locked on, charged. Buddy met it mid-lunge. The collision shook the deck. They went down in a mass of scales and claws and fury. The sound would live in the Lyssa's nightmares. Hissing, snarling, the wet crunch of fangs finding purchase. Blood sprayed, green-black ichor that steamed where it hit surfaces. The smaller specimen was outmatched, outsized, outclassed, but it fought like it had something worth dying for, because it did. Connor grabbed the Lyssa's arm. Run, they ran, through the opening blast doors, into the contaminated corridor. The chlorine burned even through the suits. The Lyssa's legs pumped. Her species wasn't built for speed, but adrenaline override biology. Terror made her fast. Connor kept pace beside her. His hand never left her arm. Like he thought she'd fall behind, like he'd drag her bodily if necessary. Behind them, Buddy screamed, not a growl, a pain sound. High, desperate, the sound prey made when predators found them. Except Buddy wasn't prey. Buddy was apex. Top of the food chain, except now he was dying. For them. Because Connor taught him pack. Because humans weaponized loyalty and infected everything around them with it. The Lyssa looked back, saw Buddy on the ground. The second specimen had his throat, venom dripping. The scales around the bite wound were dissolving, hemotoxin eating through armor, through flesh, through everything that made him apex, made him dangerous, made him friend. Connor saw it too. His step faltered, his hand released her arm. He turned, started back. No, the Lyssa grabbed him, used strength she didn't know she had, pulled. Connor, we can't, he's dying for us. Connor's voice broke, shattered. Raw with grief that humans felt for creatures they'd known 6 weeks. For friends, for pack, I'm not leaving him. You'll die too. Then I die. The certainty in his voice terrified her. This was what pack bonding meant. This was the cost. Not just accepting sacrifice, but offering it. Matching it. Dying alongside those who died for you because abandoning pack was worse than death. Because humans would rather cease existing than violate that bond. But the Lyssa wasn't human. Didn't have that coding, that evolutionary pressure. She'd learned pack bonding, but she hadn't internalized it. Not fully. Not yet. So she did something Connor wouldn't. Something that would hurt them both but keep them alive. She used her species' natural flexibility. Wrapped around him. Held on with strength that surprised them both. Let him drag her toward Buddy, toward sacrifice, toward death, but slowed him, made him work for every meter. Bought seconds, Buddy's eyes found Connor's through the violence, through the pain, and he pushed, deliberately, used remaining strength to shove the second specimen away. Back toward the observation room, away from them, creating distance, buying time, making choice. The second specimen released Buddy's throat, oriented toward them, toward easier prey, toward completion. It charged. The safe zone entrance was 10 meters ahead. The doors started closing. Emergency protocol. Seal contaminated sectors. Protect the clean zones. 10 meters. 9, 8. Buddy surged up. Impossible. Mortally wounded. Venom dissolving his throat from inside, but he surged up anyway. Intercepted the second specimen one final time. Latched on with remaining strength. Held, sacrificed. Connor stopped fighting the Lyssa's grip. His shoulders sagged. She felt the moment. The exact second he accepted. Chose living over dying with Buddy. Chose Pack who could survive over Pack who couldn't. The grief hit him like physical blow, but he turned, ran with her, through the safe zone entrance. The doors slammed shut behind them. Locked. The second specimen hit them seconds later. The impact resonated through the station's superstructure, but the doors held, silence, except for harsh breathing in suit recyclers. The Lyssa released Connor. He sank against the wall. Pulled off his helmet. His face was wet. Humans leaked when they grieved. She'd read that, knew it academically. But watching him cry for a creature he'd befriended 6 weeks ago hit different, made her throat tight, made her head fins flush colors she couldn't control. She removed her helmet, sat beside him. The safe zone atmosphere was breathable, chemical-tinged from scrubbers but clean. Her lungs stopped burning, her vision cleared, but Connor's didn't. He sat with head bowed, shoulders shaking, making sounds that had no Sivith equivalent, grief sounds, human sounds. The Lyssa didn't have frameworks for this. Her people didn't offer physical comfort, didn't touch during emotional distress, didn't know how to process pain that came from connection. But she'd been learning. 6 weeks of human proximity, 6 weeks of pack bonding, whether she wanted it or not. 6 weeks of watching Connor do impossible things and make them look natural. So she touched, awkward, uncertain. Her hand found his shoulder, rested there, warm human flesh through the suit, solid, alive, hers. The possessive thought should have scared her. Didn't, just felt true. Connor's hand came up, covered hers, his fingers interlaced, gripped like she was anchor, like she kept him from drowning in grief. Maybe she did, maybe that was Pack too. Surviving together, sharing burden, making impossible bearable through proximity. He died protecting us, Connor said finally, his voice rough, damaged from chlorine and crying, because I taught him Pack. Because I made him understand you were mine. He barely knew you, but he fought. He died, because that's what Pack does. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate, hollow, but she had nothing else. I'm sorry I didn't understand. I'm sorry I pulled you away. I'm sorry you saved my life. Connor looked at her, those predator eyes red-rimmed, grief-struck, but also something else. Something that made her head fins glow so bright they cast pink light across his face. You stopped me from dying with him. That took strength I don't have. Thank you. The Lyssa's throat worked. Her translator offered no words. Her species had no concept for what she felt. Grief for a creature she'd barely known. Pride that she'd saved Connor. Guilt that Buddy died. Relief they lived. Fear of the bond between them. Desire for it anyway. All of it tangled, complicated. Human emotions in alien nervous system. I've been pack bonding with you, Connor said quietly, for 6 weeks. You know that, right? Her breath caught. I suspected. It's not subtle. We're not built for subtle. We're built for pack, for connection, for making family out of anything that doesn't immediately try to kill us. And sometimes things that do. His thumb stroked her knuckles. Gentle, careful. I've been thinking about kissing you for 3 weeks. Since you laughed at my joke about earth squirrels. Since I watched you work in the lab and realized how brilliant you are. Since you started glowing pink whenever I got close and tried to hide it. The Lyssa's head fins betrayed her. Flushed so pink they probably lit the entire corridor. I wasn't, you were. Connor smiled. Sad but genuine. It's okay. I liked it. Liked knowing you felt it too. This pull. This connection. This pack bonding that crosses species barriers without permission. My people don't do this. The words came out strained. We don't form attachments like this. We don't, it's not safe, not logical, not, but you feel it anyway. Connor's free hand came up, touched her face, traced the line of her jaw. Humans and their touching, their need for physical contact, their constant confirmation of connection through proximity. And you saved me. Even though every instinct said run. Even though your species doesn't have the evolutionary pressure for sacrifice. You held on, bought seconds, chose my life over your safety. That's Pack, Thel. That's what I've been teaching Buddy. What I've been showing you. You learned. I learned wrong. Her voice broke. He died. Buddy died because of this Pack thing. Because you taught him to care. Because caring makes you sacrifice and sacrifice means death and I can't. I can't watch you die like that. Can't hold you back from running toward danger. Can't be the reason you get hurt. Connor's expression softened. Oh, Thel, Pack doesn't mean dying. Pack means living together, protecting each other, yeah, sacrificing when necessary. But mostly it means not being alone. Means having someone who holds your hand through crisis, who runs with you toward danger because you're worth it, who sits with you afterward and processes grief and fear and relief and all the complicated, messy feelings that come with surviving. He leaned closer. His forehead touched hers. Gentle, careful, human gesture that meant intimacy. That meant sharing space. That meant I see you, I'm here, your pack. I'm scared, she admitted. Of this, of you. Of how much I want this even though it's dangerous and illogical and against everything my people would say is wise. Good. Connor's mouth quirked. Scared means it matters. Means you're invested. Means pack bonding worked. His other hand came up. Cupped her face, both hands now, holding her like she was precious. Fragile, worth protecting. I'm going to kiss you now, unless you object, her translator offered alternatives. Mouth contact, pair bonding gesture, intimate connection. Her head fins couldn't glow brighter, so they pulsed instead. Rhythmic, obvious, betraying every emotion she couldn't voice. She didn't object. His mouth met hers, soft, warm, careful like he thought she'd break, but the Lissa leaned into it. Her hands found his face. Rough with facial hair, warm with fever from chlorine exposure, wet with tears from grief. All of it human, all of it him. All of it hers now because pack bonding was complete and irreversible and terrifying, and she wanted it anyway. The kiss deepened. Connor's hands slid to her waist, pulled her closer. They were still in atmosphere suits, still in safe zone corridor, still processing trauma and grief and adrenaline crash, but none of that mattered. Pack was together. Pack was safe. Pack was kissing like connection mattered more than fear. They broke apart slowly. Connor's forehead stayed against hers. His breath ghosted across her face. Warm, alive, his. This is complicated, the Lissa said. Her voice came out breathless. My people will have questions. Station protocol has rules about interspecies relationships. Command will want debriefings about containment failure. Investigation into how you befriended the specimen. Questions about whether pack bonding with apex predators compromises research objectivity. Yeah, Connor's thumb traced her jaw. Gentle, possessive, complicated, we'll deal with it, together. That's what pack does. What if I'm not good at this? What if I don't know how to be pack? You already are. You came for me when you should have evacuated. You held me back from suicide run toward Buddy. You sat with me through grief. You kissed me even though you're scared. That's pack, Thel. You learned it perfectly. Her head fins pulsed pink, bright, obvious. She'd stopped trying to control the color response. Stopped hiding. Pack meant being seen, being known, being vulnerable and trusting the other person not to weaponize it. I need to say something, she said. Connor waited, patient, attentive, those predator eyes focused entirely on her. I don't know if this will work, don't know if I can be what you need. Your species pack bonds naturally. Mine doesn't. I might fail at this, might panic, might revert to sci-fi cautious rationality when crisis hits. Might Thel. Connor's hands framed her face, held her, grounded her. I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for willing, for trying, for staying even when it's scary. That's all pack requires. Commitment, choice, showing up. Can you do that? She thought about running through maintenance tunnels toward danger, about pulling Connor away from sacrifice, about sitting with him through grief, about kissing him even though her entire nervous system screamed it was illogical and dangerous, and against every survival instinct her species evolved. Yes, she said, I can do that. Then we're good. Connor smiled, that crooked smile that started this whole thing. That made her pack bond without permission. That taught her humans were dangerous in ways that had nothing to do with forward-facing eyes and predator heritage. We'll figure out the rest as we go, together, like pack. The station's emergency klaxons stopped. Regular lighting flickered on. The safe zone door opened. Medical teams poured through. Security, station command, reality crashed back. There would be questions, debriefings, medical treatment for Connor's chlorine exposure, reports about containment failure and creature deaths and humans befriending apex predators against protocol. But Connor's hand stayed in hers. His thumb kept stroking her knuckles, and the Lissa realized something fundamental had shifted, changed. She'd crossed thresholds she couldn't uncross, learned what humans called pack, what they called connection. What they called love, even though the word had no sci-fi equivalent and her translator struggled with nuance. Pack bonding transcended species barriers. Connor was right. It was behavioral, emotional, universal. And now she carried it too. The weight of connection, the gravity of care. The terrible, beautiful certainty that she'd fight for him, hold him, choose him, even when scared, especially when scared, because that's what Pack does. Medical reached them, started running scans on Connor, checking chlorine exposure, asking questions. But he didn't release her hand, didn't let go, even when they wanted to separate them for individual treatment, even when command arrived demanding explanations. He held on, made it clear she was Pack, non-negotiable. Thalyssa's head fins glowed pink, stayed pink. She stopped hiding it, let command see, let medical see. Let everyone see that the station xenobiologist had pack bonded with a human, that she'd learned impossible things from predator species, that she'd changed in ways Sci-fi Institute never prepared her for. And she wasn't sorry, not even a little bit, because Connor was warm and alive and hers, because Buddy died protecting them and that mattered, because pack meant something deeper than survival, meant belonging, meant not being alone even when universe tried to kill you. Later, in medical observation, Connor would tell command about befriending Buddy, about spending 6 weeks earning trust, about teaching loyalty and connection and all the things humans did naturally. Command would be horrified, would implement new protocols, would question whether humans should be allowed near deathworld specimens. Later still, Thalissa would file reports about apex predator intelligence markers, about pack behavior crossing species barriers, about humans being more dangerous than categoriminous 5 fauna because they weaponized connection and made you want it anyway. But right now, in this moment, with medical scanning them and command demanding answers and the station slowly returning to normal operations, they stayed connected. Hand in hand, pack, and that was enough.